Okay, here we go. We have a post from ZOS saying upcoming U47 PTS changes based on feedback from the community manager, Amy. Hello all. We've seen a lot of your feedback about some of the class and ability changes that are currently on the PTS for update 47. We hear your frustration and confusion about why some of these changes are being made, and we want to give you some additional context. We also understand that having to continually update builds with every patch can be tiresome and can detract from the fun and enjoyment of playing the way you want, something that is a part of ESO's DNA. In considering the community's feedback, we'll be making the following changes starting in an upcoming week of the U47 PTS, sometime after PTS week 2. All right, let's see what they got. Since the release of Update 46, our aim has been to prevent excessive ultimate generation by limiting the newer sources that subclassing introduced. That is not actually true. They buffed many of those sources with Update 46. So I guess they're saying since it released. Since as it was releasing, that wasn't what their aim was, but as soon as it hit live, that became their aim, I guess, because they were buffing ultimate generation on the PTS for update 46. Anyways, but with a more targeted approach that doesn't hurt those who aren't subclassing. If that was y'all's aim, then what have we been doing? Anyways, I'm just going to keep reading and then we'll go through. An upcoming PTS update will address the feedback we've seen with the following adjustment. All class passives that were adjusted to major or minor heroism effect will now once again unique ultimate sources. However, the passive abilities that generated minor heroism during week 1 will now share a cooldown, so they cannot be stacked. Okay, we originally discussed this before the week 1 changes, but feared the gameplay experience with these effects would result in confusing and jarring gameplay experiences since passive cooldowns cannot be messaged clearly. Why not? Why can't they be messaged clearly? But we've seen a lot of discussion that suggests we likely overworried about that. How would the discussion you've seen suggest that you overworried about that when we haven't been able to discuss this yet? Because we are just now seeing that you're doing it. So far, I'm already just like, what are y'all even talking about here? So, this is good. This is good. Like, I think this is fair. So, class passives are going to go back to their own thing. But if you have multiple class lines that have the ulti-gen passives, you can't stack them together. Like they'll be on a cooldown, so you might trigger one class passive while the other is on cooldown. So it's kind of like they have their own named buff without having a name for the class passives. They can't play with each other. I think this is fine. This is fair. This seems like a reasonable way to do it. You still get your benefit from your class passives. You still get the benefit from major minor heroism. And it sounds like Catalyst is just gonna still give your ulti. We'll have to see about that one. I don't understand the wording in the reasonings though. That's the part that's confusing me here. Not the good changes that are being made to dial back what they did. That's fine. That's great. I'm glad they're doing that. But the wording is weird. Like, they said that their aim was to go with a targeted approach that doesn't hurt those who aren't subclassing. So why did they pick major and minor heroism? Because that has nothing to do with subclassing or not. So already, like, if that was your aim, the first thing you even tried was not at all aligned with that aim. And then this part down here, since passive cooldowns cannot be messaged clearly. Why not? Why can't there be a message or a line on the passive that mentions a cooldown? I don't know. I feel like the devs live in a different universe than us. Anyways, let's keep going. We'll also be introducing a failsafe for the Arcanist class mastery script with Banner Bearer, so it's not a complete loss of power. It will generate ultimate if the effect did not generate a crux. No, this does not work. And this is why this does not work. If you much of the time, this banner will still be generating your crux. Because often this will tick before the tick of your tome bearer goes off. So if that happens, then we're in the same exact boat as this is already in. That changes nothing. And so every once in a while when it doesn't happen, I guess you get a little bit of ultimate. But most of the time, we're in the exact same boat as week 1 on the PTS where it's redundant and does nothing. So I don't know what we're doing, but this is not the way. Finally, we'll be looking at sorcerer adjustments and reiterating and reverting some of the adjustments based on your feedback. Lightning form will again grant major resolve instead of minor force to retain its unique damage defensive hybrid effect. Hey, that's good. I'm glad they're reverting that. That's a change that I can get behind. Bound armor will again grant minor protection at base rather than major resolve. Additionally, the active effect of the abilities will now scale in duration with your armor rather than a flat amount. Oh, so the block mitigation increase when you activate bound Aegis. That will last longer based on how much armor you have?
Hi.
Okay. That seems a little weird. It's already like a 5-second window to block stuff, so it seems fine. I guess a longer window is better though, if you can get it up longer. All right. We'll keep going. The max mag and stamp increase from the ability and its morphs have been moved to dark magic. Will exist on the blood magic passive. All right, blood magic is the one that heals you. ESO. The blood magic. When you cast a dark magic ability with a cost, you heal for 800 or 1600. This effect scales off your max health. So now you're going to get max stamina and magicka with this. I mean, it's an improvement, I guess, to dark magic. But that's not going to be enough to make... So, dark magic's already good in PvP. So this just made it better in PvP with the extra resources. But the shield is in the Daedric summoning line, which is really why, like, one of the main reasons to stack max resources. But now it's in the dark magic line. And let's be honest, getting like 8% max magicka or stamina is not making this line any more viable in PvE. Not for healing, not for tanking, not for DPS. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not even close to being enough. Not even in the ballpark of being enough. Like, and the line was already good in PvP, and it just made it better. So, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what their reasonings behind these changes. Bound armaments will have a higher chance of applying Sundered, so it reaches a closer power level to the Grim Focus Morphs. They're gonna have to... It's gonna have a shitload of Sundered. To get there. Yeah, closer. Keyword. We'll see what that word means to ZOS. It's good. It's good. I mean, I'm glad they're doing this. It's an improvement, and I'm glad to see Bound Armaments getting some buffs, because it's been way behind for a long time. We'll see how much this does. If you got a decent chance for every blade that shoots out to trigger Sundered, this could be pretty decent. So we'll look at it. Yeah, let's keep reading and then we'll sum it up. As we mentioned before the release of U46 and subclassing, we'll continue to work on tuning these abilities to achieve greater class balance. It's worth noting that the changes above are also subject to change, and we'll continue listening to your feedback before these go live. In the months ahead, we're going to continue to look at balancing, and we'll make additional adjustments. For now, we hope these amended abilities are more in line with your expectations and you continue to enjoy subclassing. This is so... Nothing against Amy. Like, she's the community manager. She's relaying the message, right? This is not a knock on her at all. This is 100% the people making these combat balance changes being out of touch. Thank you again for the thoughtful and constructive discourse around the U47 PTS changes. Your input is valuable, and these adjustments are a direct result. Are they? I mean, maybe a few of them. Please continue to let us know how your experience is on the PTS. We're listening. I mean, it's a good sentiment. I'll say that. It's a good sentiment. I'm glad that they're making a post. They're reaching out. They're saying, hey, we're listening. Hey, we're changing things. Like, this is a good step for communication, which is severely lacking. So I'm glad to see this, but overall, this is just like a drop in the bucket for what we're looking for here. So just a quick summary. The major minor heroism on class. Sorry, somebody's riding a bike by and they're super loud. The major minor heroism that were on class passives, that's no longer going to be a thing. But the class passives cannot stack with each other to generate ult. There will be a cooldown on them. I think this is fine. It seems like a pretty reasonable solution. I don't know why they said that passive cooldowns can't be messaged clearly. So are we just not going to have any kind of wording anywhere in the game that says that they're on a cooldown? So it's going to be confusing for players to run into that have not read this update or these patch notes. That seems a little odd to me. I think there should be a clear label on the passive that says something about a cooldown. So that's a little weird. The Arcanist class mastery script is not the answer. It's gonna still trigger the crux most of the time instead of your tome bearer, which leaves us in the same exact place that we're at now. And then for the Sorc stuff, lightning form going back to major resolve, that's nice. Minor protection for bound armor, that's fine. So I guess overall it's kind of, this is decent. The only thing is now bound Aegis, instead of having 8% max mag on it, it's going to have a longer timer on the block mitigation that you can activate. That seems like a pretty bad trade-off overall. The bound armaments one is decent. Now you get major prophecy and savagery on bound armaments, and it has a higher chance to apply sundered. I think this could be in a pretty decent spot depending on how high that chance is. And then the magic and stamina moving to dark magic. I don't know. I feel like that, you know, the needle's here and it goes like it's what does that do? So again, I appreciate them reaching out. I think that's a good step. I think they need to do this more. I think there needs to be a lot more back and forth dialogue, but ultimately this doesn't really ease any of my worries about this patch, except for, I mean, the ulti-gen stuff. That one I think they've kind of nailed. The other stuff is like, well, this doesn't really make much of an impact. It doesn't resolve any of the issues of us losing a ton of power going into this new update. Doesn't resolve what they even talked about at the beginning of us, you know, every patch can be tiresome and detract from the fun and enjoyment of playing the way you want. Like, none of this changes that aspect. Like, I feel like the stuff we're really mad about going into update 47, this doesn't really do anything for it. So I guess we'll wait and see. That's all we can really do at this time. I doubt we'll get any more messaging. This was a once in a blue moon kind of deal that they even wrote something mid-cycle. All of the crappy skill lines that we're not using in subclassing are still crappy. All of the power that they took away is it's still taken away and not put back anywhere else. So we're pretty much exactly where we were before. So I'm not sure what the goal was with all this, except for the ulti-gen. So good on ZOS for fixing that. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video.